Have you ever observed how certain individuals seem to command the room without uttering a single word? No shouting, no pleading, just quiet withdrawal. And suddenly, the atmosphere shifts. The energy around them changes. People begin to wonder, to pursue, to feel. Now imagine stepping into that same space yourself. If you held back from instantly reacting to everything, if you embraced quiet instead of snapping back, if you stepped away instead of lashing out, what would unfold then? That is the core of it. When you stop making yourself perpetually accessible, mentally, emotionally, physically, everything around you shifts. People are conditioned to influence you through your habits, through your reflexes, through your predictability. But the moment you pull back, the entire game rewrites itself. Those who assumed they understood you suddenly realize they never did. Think about it. When you become elusive, who truly grows uneasy? Who gets irritated? Who tries to trigger you just to get any kind of reaction? It says more about them than it does about you. It shows just how much control you still hand over without realizing it. You keep giving yourself up to keep peace, to not lose people who, in reality, were never solidly in your corner. Each forced agreement, each instant reply, each heated emotion costs you a piece of yourself. And by the end of it, what remains? Exhaustion, frustration, a hollow feeling you can't quite name. Why? Because you've been too open, too ready for those who aren't worth even a second of your quiet. This isn't about shutting out the world. It's about choosing yourself. It's about embracing what Jung called individuation, the journey to becoming whole, true, and complete. And it begins by realizing silence can overpower 1,000 words. Choosing to withdraw, not out of fear, but out of clarity, is a move of strength. So look inward. How long will you allow others to pull your strings? How long will you respond like a puppet whenever someone pokes your vulnerabilities? Maybe now is the time to cut those strings, to step back, to become an enigma. Because once you stop being ever present, everything changes. We've all been taught to be on call, answer immediately, keep everyone pleased, agree even when we want to say no. Since childhood, we're wired to think our value lies in always being there for others. But here's a truth not often told. Constant availability isn't a virtue, it's a trap. As long as you believe you must always be reachable emotionally or otherwise, you'll be exploited, drained, and forgotten the moment you're no longer needed. Why? Because constant availability makes you predictable. And what's predictable becomes a tool. People treat you like an emotional quick fix button. Press when they want comfort, ignore when they're done. But you stay caught in the loop, thinking being there for everyone means someone will be there for you. It doesn't work that way. Jung spoke of the persona, a mask we wear to fit in, to be accepted. That mask is exactly what keeps you too available. You say it's fine when you're suffocating. You reply to every message, even when exhausted. You justify yourself endlessly, as if you owe the world an explanation. But here's the reality. The more you center your life around others, the less space there is for yourself. Constant availability is quiet self-abandonment. It's a hidden form of approval seeking, trying to dodge rejection, manipulating how people see you. But this illusion comes with a cost. Your peace, your life energy, spent like it's endless, when in truth, it's limited. People who demand you be always available don't actually want you, they want what you bring them. Validation, distraction, emotional comfort. And when you change, when you set limits, when you refuse to react, they get angry, call you strange. It's not because you changed, it's because you stopped being useful to them. And here's the harshest truth. The more available you are, the less others value you. Overabundance breeds indifference. No one respects what they didn't have to earn. No one appreciates what's always there. Pause and reflect. Who genuinely deserves your attention? Your presence? Your absence? Before answering, we must first understand why we react so easily, why we're so quick to say yes. Behind that reflex lies what Jung described as psychic energy. Your energy is everything you own. If you don't guard it, someone else will use it against you. Jung saw the human mind not as a machine on autopilot, but as an energy system. Each thought, each feeling, each action consumes part of that finite energy. Are you choosing where your energy flows, or are you letting others choose for you? Every impulsive reaction is energy lost, defending yourself against pointless criticism, answering provocations just to prove a point. chasing after empty conversations, pleasing people who don't value you. All of it siphons your strength. And as Jung said, what you resist persists. The more you react, the more you trap yourself. Emotionally drained people aren't weak, they're misdirected. And here's the danger. Once you're depleted, you become vulnerable. Manipulators, opportunists, they sense this instantly. They see you don't know how to guard your energy, that you react to everything, that you're trying to fix everyone else's world, and they feed off it. A healthy mind knows how to hold its energy, saying no without guilt, staying silent without shame, observing before acting. Real power isn't in reacting, it's in knowing when and how to act. Think, how often have you lost sleep replaying an unfinished conversation, obsessing over something you should have said, wondering why someone treated you badly? That's your energy slipping away with no return. You keep feeding cycles that should have ended long ago. Psychic energy is like a shield. When protected, it radiates presence. You walk into a room and people notice. When scattered, you fade. You become reactive, fragile, and the world is ruthless with those who give in too easily. Start watching your triggers. What sets you off automatically? What throws you off balance? That's where your energy leaks, and that's where you need to focus. Not to become cold or numb, but to become sovereign over yourself. One of Jung's sharpest insights: when you conserve your energy, you shatter the projections others place on you, and that unsettles them, because now you're entering dangerous ground. Silent manipulation. When you pull back, opportunistic people lose their grip. They feed off your reactions. They don't need to yell. They just push your buttons, and you react. Every time. But the moment you stop reacting, everything collapses. You say no. You answer with silence. You step away without explanation. The projections fall apart. Their mask crumbles. And people panic because they no longer recognize who you are. Worse, they're now forced to face themselves. Not everyone is ready for that. Your unavailability forces others to confront their own emptiness. The silence you give them echoes louder than any words. And so comes the backlash. Criticism, emotional theatrics. Not because you're wrong, but because you stopped playing the convenient role they cast you in. Jung once said, "Enlightenment isn't imagining light, but making the darkness conscious. When you withdraw, when you stop feeding these cycles, their shadows emerge. And for those who used you as an escape, that's unbearable. But what about you? Are you ready to stand in that discomfort, being misunderstood, rejected, even attacked for choosing yourself? Are you ready for the silence after the break? Because it's in that silence that a new kind of strength is born. The modern world is loud. Everyone wants to be heard, to win arguments, to prove a point, even if it costs their peace. But there's a power few know, and fewer master. The power of deliberate silence. Not passive silence, not cowardly silence, but clear, controlled, intensely aware silence. The kind that isn't absence, but magnified presence. Silence isn't emptiness, it's fertile ground. Stop reacting and you start seeing. You notice patterns, manipulation loops, self-sabotage routines. Silence brings clarity, and clarity is dangerous to those who thrive on controlling you. Ever noticed how some people panic when you don't respond? When you don't explain? When you simply disappear? It's not that they miss you, it's that your silence steals their narrative control. While you're talking, you're still playing their game. Stay quiet, and you rewrite the rules. That throws off anyone who depends on your reactions. Real silence isn't just about shutting up, it's about controlling your own energy, refusing to be dragged into someone else's storm, choosing not to fight battles that drain you. Jung taught, becoming your true self requires distance. Only in silence can you hear your own voice. But silence has a price. It will alienate those who only valued you for your role. It will confuse those who only saw you through their projections. You'll seem cold, detached, arrogant. That's just noise. The truth is, the more you grow, the more selective you become with your words. Each one is an investment. Not everyone deserves your truth. Sometimes silence isn't withdrawal, it's sovereignty. It's the language of someone who no longer needs to prove anything to anyone. Silence is unsettling because it forces others to confront their own thoughts, their own noise, and that says more about them than anything you could say. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your absence. It explains itself. Those threatened by your silence reveal how much they depended on your imbalance. But the deepest power isn't in disturbing others. It's in rebuilding yourself, connecting with something beyond external approval. In that internal quiet, you start to reclaim your energy, to reconnect with your core. It's not enough to block out outside noise. You must also relearn how to direct your energy, where it flows, where it stays, where it must never go again. It's time to get selective with your own soul, and it all starts now.